And I also want to talk about something because, I'm a journalist. Corporations lying is not breaking news. They lie all the time. They either try to get you to talk to them off the record so that they could steer you away and try to get you to not do a story, or they want to talk to you on background, which basically is them feeding you a bunch of bullshit, you reporting that bullshit with no attribution to them. So off the record, we want to stop you from reporting it. On background, we want to give you spin. So I reported, I don't know, last week or the week before, you got workers fainting in here. You got workers being carted off on carts. You got people complaining on the message boards that it's 78 to 80 degrees inside. So I reported on it. I posted some of the comments from Amazon's VOA board, and Amazon responded to me.
Really?
Yeah, they responded. Let me get that. Amazon told me that they had some temperature controlled system, blah, 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 blah. The whole warehouse is air conditioned. People actually prefer being inside because of the air condition. And when I pushed back, they said, Jordan, I have given you accurate, attributable, and on-the-record information so that you could present actual facts to your readers. Your source information, so the workers are the sources, is false, and you've been made aware of this fact. Your continued practice of knowingly reporting inaccurate information is unprofessional, and as a result, this is my last email to you. So what I found interesting about that is, number one, it's not like one source. I'm talking to a lot of workers, and I got screenshots of workers complaining on the digital board about how hot it was. So I wrote back, so you're saying all these workers are lying? Are you saying these messages that I got are fakes? And they didn't respond. So take the audience inside. What are the conditions in here? How hot is it inside? And what are they doing about how hot it is inside?
Wiring is coming down from the ceiling and blocking the pods from getting to people. Things are melting. Things are not working. Like, seriously, the robotics are not working. We don't have Wi-Fi in there to call for help. The waters that they're trying to hand out, if they hand them out at all, are cloudy and they taste like plastic. We don't know how long they've been sitting there. Nobody drinks them. And the water coolers are completely out of water because everyone's going to the water coolers. It's a bad deal. But we're still being timed by the millisecond. People are coming out of their stations. They're complaining to their managers, and their managers are telling them it's all right, try to hold on a little bit longer, get back to work. No, you can't take additional breaks, which according to the OSHA laws, you are allowed additional breaks in extreme heat and extreme weather.
This is Natalie, who's also an Amazon worker. We were talking when I reported this, and you said from the moment you're inside, you're dripping, soaking wet. Can you kind of talk about, all I see is fans, which would be blowing hot air back on workers, and they didn't actually give me any proof that workers are lying. So can you kind of talk about you and others? If you're soaking right when you get in there, that means it's basically a boiler room.
Right. I had actually had some fans placed into some of the sort stations where the section I work at probably about 6 months ago. And it was only after I filed a work comp case last year saying that the reason that some of the sorters were dropping packages on themselves, really heavy ones, is because especially in the afternoon it was so hot, especially during the summertime. So it was only because of the work comp case and my statement that they went ahead and gave fans. But the small fans they gave us are so filthy and dirty that you can actually smell and taste the dirt coming off the fan. So when I walked around the ship dock area, there were only a few large fans, but they were placed in front of computer tech workers and managers who stand at a desk all day and don't do much of anything. So those large fans are not being used for the actual workers who are really, really sweating to death in there.
And what's interesting to me, I don't know if it was you or somebody else, HR's offices, they're good. They got nice AC, people are wearing hoodies. So how does the temperature controlled system work fine there, but not where the actual workers are basically slaving away for 12 hours?
Exactly. When you walk into the HR office at the front of the warehouse, where all the administrative staff is, safety, loss control, HR people, some of the executives, it feels about 20 degrees cooler. You walk in and you feel the cold air hitting you, and every time I walk in I say, wow, this is where they keep the air conditioning. Because the second you leave the HR office, it's hot, it's dirty, it's dusty, it's filthy. And especially if you have to work on the second, third, or fourth floors, heat rises. So it was most of the cases we had last week of people fainting and getting nosebleeds. Some of them did happen on the ship dock, but most of them were happening on the upper floors.
And, you know, to be clear, I don't know what each ambulance was here for, but I've spoken with enough workers. You're out here all day. Can you kind of talk about that you've been seeing ambulances going in and out of there at significantly greater rates recently?
Yeah, absolutely. In the last month, I would say, I can't even keep up with how many we've seen come to the building. It's like every week there's another one coming. 1 week in particular, there's about 4 ambulances, I think 2 or 3 in one day, just from the amount of heat. It was definitely during the heat wave last week. It was 95 out here. I was out here in 95. I actually sometimes post when I'm out here in the tent. I post the temperature on purpose to show people I'm out here in 95-degree weather. You can imagine when it is in there, where they have a 16-mile conveyor system that's running 24/7, and the machinery that's rising and causing the heat to rise, especially on the upper floors. I know because I've been in there and I know what these workers are going through. So these are actual facts, and for them to say otherwise is ridiculous. You know, it's sad, and it's telling you once again how they disregard the workers' health and safety.
If you believe in a higher power, that higher power is talking right now, because this is inhumane. And by the way, all this talk federally, the economy is roaring back, everything's going back to normal, wages are rising, all this stuff. Well, I don't know. What they're describing doesn't sound so normal to me. It sounds like an economic Hunger Games, if you've seen the Hunger Games. You got a whole lot of different things going on here. But one thing that I've noticed, you know, as a journalist, it's hard to get people on the record. But with Amazon, it's very hard. Workers are terrified here to speak with journalists, to speak out publicly. I mean, I'm not going to get into discussions, but I've spoken with people off the record, and the things they've told me are even worse than what I'm reporting here. Just ethically, I can't talk about it because it was off the record. But they're lying to journalists. They're retaliating against female black employees, and they're basically putting the fear of God in workers. So it's kind of like, other than organizing and unionizing, workers are basically just dealing with this heat, dealing with these oppressive conditions because they're terrified of losing their jobs.
Exactly. People have mortgages, houses, apartments to support families to provide for. And Amazon psychologically gets so much into your head that you feel like there's nothing else. And if you lose this job, that's the end of it. And you will be buried 6 feet under because nobody else will hire you or something like that. Amazon is really, it's one of those things that, you don't want to mess with until you mess with them. And then you're all in. And you know you're going to be all in.
Sounds like you're talking about the mob here.
It pretty much is.